Welcome to That Damn Fantasy Show. Here are your damn hosts, Paul and Steve.
Welcome in to That Damn Fantasy Show. Paul Catalina and Steve May here with you live on the That Damn Fantasy Show YouTube channel, a partnership between Rogue Sports and 365 Sports. So of that I am the partnership. I'm the fulcrum of that.
You're the link.
And so here we are, Steve. This is week 3 of That Damn Fantasy Show.
Yep.
And we do have some theme songs to go through, and then that'll be the final round. We think we're going to wind up going back to the very first one that we played. And that's just going to be how it is.
I think so. Unless
one of these hits. Unless one of these hits.
Yeah,
so
you might.
Yeah.
I think I know your musical taste well enough.
Yeah. We'll go through in a second. We'll go through those. But first, Steve, first off, I have to mention breaking news, leading story of this show. You and I, mano a mano in fantasy football. I beat you.
Yep.
And the first thing that happened to me was I have Tua, who went out of the game, and I still beat your ass.
Yep. I was looking back at my lineup, and I had Keenan Allen, who wasn't going to play, so I put in Christian Watson.
Yeah.
Thinking he'll do something. I was a little reluctant with Malik Willis. Well, Watson put up a goose egg.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Thursday night game, Achane was questionable. So on a whim, and I will readily admit I was feeling very confident in beating you because your team was having some tough luck. So I figured even put in Jalen Wright, even if he gets 5 to 10 points, I'll be all right. Well, he gets 0.4.
Achane played well.
Played well. And so I was winning going into last night's game by a point, I think, and Drake London and the Falcons themselves had a good game. So congratulations. It will not happen again.
Well, it probably won't, because I think this needs to be our leadoff segment every week is, the hell was that? And so I'll start out. Last week it was the 49ers that was my first thing in their injury reporting, which has screwed me twice at the same position this year. The first one I'm going to say, Steve, for the hell was that? Tua is my quarterback. Now he's not going on IR, but
yes, they announced.
He's going on IR.
Yeah.
He's not retiring.
Yeah.
He's not retiring yet. He's going to weigh his options. I don't think. And I talked to John McClain today, Hall of Fame NFL writer. Tua's been very upfront about he's not going to retire. He's going to keep trying to play and all that. I mean, we're all concerned for him, so I just hope he makes the right decision as a football viewing populace of a guy I think we all like.
Yeah, he's a good guy, I think.
Yeah, and not that if he was a guy we didn't like, we'd want to have 7 concussions, but I think America's rooting for Tua, and so because of that, just want to see him make the right decision. But I will say, buddy, we've been here before. The hell was that?
Mm-hmm.
So, and now I'm in a position where I am scouring the waiver wire because Will Levis will be my starting quarterback this week. So I've put in for
Thompson.
I've put in for Andy Dalton. I say this live on our show, knowing that there are rapscallion vulture scallywags in our league that may do this to spite me.
I was looking at everybody's roster and nobody's really in bad QB situation.
Like I am.
Yeah. So I don't think anybody will go after Thompson. Somebody might go after Dalton. Just because I think Carolina has decent receivers. And
they've got more problems than Bryce Young.
Yeah.
So this was apparently an ownership decision.
Yeah. So between those two, I would go after Dalton. Because didn't you pick up Bryce Young?
I did pick up Bryce Young, and then now I have to, mess with that. So,
yep.
I've got probably like Raheem Mostert's hurt, and that's going to be that will probably be when he gets healthy, his value will go up because they'll go back to more of that 2-headed monster with him and Achane. T. Higgins hasn't played a game yet.
Yep.
That hurts me greatly. I've got some young wide receivers that I really like, but I knew that those were late season plays anyway.
Mhm.
So I need to keep my head above water. But with McCaffrey out, with Tua out, I'm just basically playing for next year. This is what I changed my fantasy baseball team name to the Hospital for the same reason, where I had Acuna. He wasn't having a good year before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Then he got hurt. And it got to the point where roster-wise, I just had to let him go because even though it's a keeper league, I just had to let him go because at this point I was still keeping pace. But now I'm solidly in fourth. I'll be in fourth, and we'll just go back to the drawing board next year. That is what I'm going to try to do this year. Do the best I can. Be competitive. I've got to win, so I don't have to worry about goose egging, and just hoping that maybe I have the most ping pong balls in our draft. Even though you and I have talked about doing it differently next year, or adding in like a factor of doing something new. So
we'll have to put that up for a league vote. I'm not sure how that will go over. We do have someone in the league right now so we have our head-to-head matchups, and then we do the match against the league median. So basically you're playing head-to-head and then playing the field. So you have an opportunity for 2 wins each week. So we do have someone in the league that is 0-4. He is the person that we all voted for, had the best draft.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm 2-2. We have a couple of undefeated teams. Shout out to Keith Thornell, who always does well. He almost cracked 200 points this week. He had Kamara. He had Godwin. He had Kyler Murray.
What's frustrating about this is he throws the draft into chaos every year because he's like trying to read 11 pieces of paper. And damn it, if he doesn't turn around and do this right. Like, he's reading these 11 pieces of paper. Did he screw up? No, he didn't screw up. Like, no, you can't, go through papers like a Jerry Lewis movie and then screw up.
I feel seen.
Yeah. I mean, it's just no, but I mean, like, you've got a nice and neat here.
Don't mess him up.
But he's like,
Nah. So
but, flavor, I dropped the papers, like those kind of things. Lady, can you pick up my papers? Those kind of things. It's just not.
Scott Fishbowl. I was 2-0 last week, 0-2 this week, but I'm still. So what you want to be in that one? Like I said, there's like 3,900 people playing. Yeah. You want to be in the top 50% when the first cuts come, and I'm comfortably in that spot. So doing much better this year. Yeah,
well, good for you, Steve.
Yes.
And we're all happy. I was last night. I had Bijan Robinson and Jalen Hurts. I was down, and he had Drake London, and I gotten to the point where just need Drake London to not have a touchdown catch.
Yeah,
a catch. I mean, maybe it had been like an 80-yard catch where he didn't score a touchdown, might have put it over. Just not a touchdown catch. What happens at the end of the game? He gets a touchdown catch. I lost that game. My other league, again, I've been beset by injuries in that one. That's got Puka and, other people on that roster. So I was 1-2 this week, but the one was the one that mattered the most to me because it was you versus me.
Yes.
And
you're welcome.
And Tua got hurt, and I was like, well, that's like no Tua. I know I'm not going to have McCaffrey. So I thought, yeah, I mean, my other running back was Jamal Williams, who did get me like 4 points ish because the Cowboys were so bad.
Yeah.
So
that's what the hell was that?
Yeah. So, okay. The hell was that? The Cowboys, this has been a team classically that you could get 4 fantasy players off of.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was Romo or Dak or whatever, like for about 15 years now, you've been able to say the quarterback, the tight end, the running back, and at least one receiver,
yes.
if not 2.
Yes.
Right now, the Cowboys have 3 players that you should have on your roster, and none others. Not Brandon Cook, not Jalen Tolbert, not like Rico Dowdle. You need to maybe keep, but like they're starting to move that around, and like you've got to have running back, so Dowdle and Zeke and all that.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, if it's not CD, Dak, or Jake Ferguson when he comes back, there is not somebody that you really need to start.
I would actually put Brandon Aubrey over Ferguson.
Oh, Brandon Aubrey. Yeah, Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah,
so,
but
Ferguson, like as far as offensive playmakers and not,
some to keep an eye on. I don't know if he'll pan out into anything, knowing Jerry Jones, but there's I guess a thing about activating Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
So if you're desperate for a running back, and we can talk more about ads later, but that might be someone to go out and grab. I wouldn't.
I still think it's a week away.
I wouldn't use a waiver spot on him. I would let your waivers run, and then if he's out there as a free agent and you got a bench spot, that's how I would get him.
Yeah. So we'll see how my waivers do this week in our league. I might have to go get him. I mean, like I'm in desperate times. I'm in stranded on the road with no money and no clothes and might have to, do awful things to get my way to Wichita, if you know what I'm saying. Like that's
an image I did not want to have.
I mean, look, you got to do what you got to do, Steve. I mean, So, all right,
let's play some songs.
Yeah, before we get to ads and things like that, let's go through theme songs. Okay. This one is country, straight up and down country.
Yep.
So.
And we go where the Longhorns roam. The good old boys bring the fantasy home. Paul and Steve, they know just what to do. Giving you the picks to help your team break through. From the quarterbacks to the wide receivers, the down-home charm, you gotta believe them. Stat lines and draft tips, they got it all. Tune into the show or watch your team break thaw. That damn fantasy show, taking Texas by the reins. Paul and Steve are calling the game. From Waco to your home, we're right in the way.
Yeah, that where the Longhorns roam thing.
In Waco.
Nixed it for me. Nixed right away.
Number one team in the country.
Yeah, I know. I get enough of that shit in my other job. So no. I'm not for that one. All right.
So the next one was the attempt at the next two were attempts at the 80s sitcom theme and didn't quite the AI brain didn't quite know what I was asking.
Yeah.
All country flavor.
Every Sunday morning, Paul and Steve are here. They're talking stats and touchdowns. Grab yourself a beer. Trading tips and secrets. Who's in and who's out. Fantasy football fever. No room for any doubt. The damn fantasy show. Paul and Steve will know who's the best to pick for your weekend hit.
Okay, that one has a little bit of a, and I know I'm dating myself with this reference, and you, Mike, our producer, and you are a little older than me. But it kind of had a Kids Incorporated feel to it. Kids Incorporated, yeah, which was a Saved by the Bell-esque show where there was a child band at this local club. I've like, even when I was younger, I was like, there's not a place you can go see this. Like, there's not like any town. Like,
they were trying to start something.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't
like,
catch on.
Yeah, I think of an old there's an old Norm Macdonald bit about Star Search where he's like, there's nowhere you can go like to see the junior dancers. Like, hey, honey, you want to go down to McNulty's? They got 6-year-olds dancing. So, all right. So
another pop one.
Another pop one. Okay. Well, country old.
Every Sunday morning, Paul and Steve are here. Talking stats and touchdowns. Grab yourself a beer.
Yeah.
Trading tips and secrets. Who's in and who's out. Fantasy football fever. No room for any doubt. That damn fantasy show.
No, I'm not even gonna let that one get through. That was terrible.
All right, last attempt.
Okay, last one is Cop Show.
Yeah,
we tried Cop Show.
Yeah, it didn't quite hit, but it's interesting.
in control. Every weakness surprise, stars will fall, heroes rise. That damn fantasy show. Paul and Steve, they know.
Not for.
Stats and scores and goal. Winning.
You know, I would say that's less cop show and more like Thundercats. I mean, I guess the Thundercats were feline space cops.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So go back to the very first
The
one.
very, very first one. Okay. Whoa. Oops. Sorry. I think this is the first one. Okay, there we go. Sorry.
Paul and Steve, they roll the dice. Fantasy dreams ain't always nice. Crunching numbers late at night, seeking that glory shining bright.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
the one.
The course is good on that one.
Yeah. So that's the one. So we've made it. We've got a theme song generated by AI. I plan on taking this concept over to all the other podcasts I'm on. As a matter of fact, Thursday might be a good day for me to roll this out on Triple Option, which you
Yeah.
can see on 365 Sports. I'm gonna try to do that. So Suno.com is the site you use.
Suno. Yep.
Suno.com. So we have a theme song here, and
We're legit. We're
yeah,
official.
we're legit.
Yeah.
So, I'm giddy. I'm excited. I think that we're there. The one that was like the second pop fun one
Mhm.
could have been like with a guy with like a keytar like zoomed in and out a bunch of times. You know what I'm saying? Like in the video, they like zoom in and zoom
Yeah.
out real fast. You know.
Yeah, I really like in the descriptors I put, 80s style sitcom, light and funny. For the cop one I put, 70s gritty cop show theme, and it didn't quite. As AI gets better, I think it'll adapt more.
Here's the thing: once they do get it, that's Skynet. Like
Oh,
that's my worry.
I'm already like, if I'm in stores, like I've done this enough for this and for some 4-cylinder Fury stuff. The voices have you can hear just a little tinge of robot.
Yeah.
And I've been in some stores and something will be playing overhead, and I'm like, that sounds like that.
Yeah. Well, this is neither here nor there in a total like tangent, but apparently Spotify is about to get in some trouble because they've got like this fake artist who's done like 6
Yeah.
million songs.
Yep.
And they just put them through and they like get their royalty payments back to
Mhm.
themselves.
Yep.
So, I mean, nobody's written 6 million songs. Like no one.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buffett has a crap load of songs. He didn't even get close to 6
No,
million, you know. So anyway, well, that's our song. So Steve, let's get into it this week. I've not had a good run, by the way, in DFS yet. That is not. I want to talk about that first. I've
2 weeks of breaking even in our weekly contests. I haven't cashed out yet, and it's just been weird. So like last week, the plays were like in cash games where you want to load up with as many top performers as you're guessing. Cooper Kupp was the main guy. Jordan Mason was in everybody's lineup, and Kupp got hurt obviously, and so hardly anybody had Kamara. Godwin, Kyler Murray was not widely used. So if you enter the big contest like the $1 million one, you can go back and see what the winning lineup had. And so the winning lineup of the $1 million last week had Godwin, Murray, Kamara. That was the core.
Yeah.
And it's just I didn't have any of those
Yeah.
guys.
So far I'm down 30 overall dollars in across my DraftKings this year. I may take a break from other contests and just do ours
Mhm.
until I get a dub.
I've done
and
that
then-
before.
And
Yeah.
then I'm like, I'll get confident again, and that way I'll see where the league's going, where things are. But again, I try in most like I set 2 lineups generally. Is one that I do
Mhm.
with you guys, and then another one that I do that I'm like I'll do one that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna swing
Mm-hmm.
big here,
Mm-hmm.
and that's usually just a $1 lineup to see how it does. Find the like highest payout with the lowest people for $1 and do that one and see if I can win, $75 or something like that with that lineup.
Yep.
Last week I came close. Like I was right there, and then right at the end.
So also last week, kind of along those same lines, lineups that did well had Daniel Jones,
Yeah.
because you could put Jones and Neighbors in your lineup. They were dirt cheap, and then you could load up on all the studs, around there, and those paid off pretty well. But yeah, it's been difficult. I do like on FanDuel, they have a nickel game where you can put in 150 lineups. So if you're doing that, you got to find a site that'll generate lineups for you. And there's some pay ones, there's some free ones. So on that one, every Sunday I throw in 100 lineups.
Yeah.
Because it's $5. And, usually end up winning, get my money back, and then a couple dollars extra more. So that's fun.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, we're going to get to lineups now and go through some things, but important injury news. Cooper Kupp, like you said, out.
Yep.
Tua Cooper Kupp's going to IR. He's going to be, well, I don't think that's official yet, but he's going to miss.
I think they did announce it today.
He's going to miss a significant amount of time. Tua's going to miss a significant amount of time. Let's see. There's one other injury. Oh, Isaiah Pacheco is out. Going to miss a significant amount of time. The Chiefs have brought back Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
But Carson Steele and Samaje Perine are the next up on the depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Kareem Hunt jumps either one of those two guys. They really do like Carson Steele, though.
They do. Yeah. And so for all those, so the Rams, you got Kupp and you got Nakua out.
And they have a bunch of linemen out too. So when you're picking up other Rams players, take that into consideration of Matthew Stafford's going to have a bit of a time.
They still have Tutu Atwell, who people have forgotten about. He hasn't done much. But I think the pickups there are Tyler Johnson and DeMarcus Robinson.
And Colby Parkinson, the tight end.
The tight end.
Might see a more target share too.
For the Chiefs, it's going to be committee. I'm going after Perine in a couple of leagues. Carson Steele will get a shot. Andy Reid even said that.
Yeah.
Pacheco will be out for a while. Joe Mixon was hurt, but they're saying it wasn't too serious. I'm not sure if he's going to miss time or not for the Texans. If he does, everything I read today was Dameon Pierce, even though they've been putting Cam Akers out there.
Well, Dameon Pierce has been hurt.
Yeah.
So,
but
look, Cam, if you get to the end of the week, Cam Akers is still sitting out there, and you see the injury reports, and they're both still on it. I would, if you've got a spot, pluck him and see how it goes.
Yep. And then, quarterback, which we've talked about, Skylar Thompson for now. They're bringing in Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
From the Ravens practice squad. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Well, Tyler Huntley's won some
He's
games.
Okay. Yeah. He fits that offense, I think. So I think he'll get a chance at some point. And then Andy Dalton in Carolina, can he duplicate what Sam Darnold is doing with Minnesota? Not as good of weapons, obviously. Minnesota, Jefferson was banged up, but he didn't expect to miss any time. So.
Well, yeah, he had 97-yard touchdown. Rashad White had a bit of a groin injury, but I don't think they're going to miss him. Amon-Ra St. Brown had something, but I don't think he's going to miss any time either. So, like sometimes you look and they've got that Q by their name. It's just because they took them out of the game for a minute and then they came back in. So we'll see. But you can follow, I'll say this, if you go, how do I find out? The NFL sends out injury reports every single day from every single team. And there are many places you can go and just, it's easy for me because I get press releases from everybody, but yeah, you can follow guys like Ian Rappaport or something like that on Twitter, and they put up pretty much everything out. So you'll be able to know, did not practice, all this. And so you can start pointing your week in a certain direction if you follow those pretty closely. So
waivers in most leagues will run tonight. And just my advice would be to just really look at your team and see what you need. Your team's been banged up a lot. So
I've got to make big moves.
You got to make some big moves.
I got to make some big moves.
Uh,
In my other leagues, like I'm not worried. Like I'm 1-1 in each of them. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it. Like nobody's out for the season yet. Like I'm fine. Like
Yep.
part of me wants to be like, oh, I need to go get this guy or this guy or this guy. And I look at my roster, and be like, nah, they'll like. I have a league where I have my top 2 wide receivers are DJ Moore and Michael Pittman. Have not
Mhm.
done a lot yet. I think
They
that's
will.
going to change.
Yeah.
You know, T. Higgins hasn't played yet. So if he had been playing, I could have maybe sat either one of those guys down until they hit. You know,
Yeah.
so that I have Rashid Shaheed, and that's
That's been great.
I have him
Yeah.
in all 3 leagues, and it's by far my best draft pick. Like he's one of those guys that kind of fell through. People
Mhm.
are like, oh, okay. Well, I was like, nope, I'm taking him.
Yep.
So,
I have him in Scott Fishbowl and
Yeah.
did not play him this last week.
no, I think he's the perfect flex pick.
Yeah.
If he's the perfect flex, because he's still returning punts and kicks and things like that. And Clint Kubiak's offense is amazing.
Mhm.
Like it's really amazing.
Yeah.
And the Saints haven't had, like, even last year's under Sean Payton, they were not like this. He's gotten a lot of. Derek Carr has a lot of value now because
Derek Carr is still available on a lot of waiver wires.
yeah,
Not any leagues where everybody kind of knows what they're doing,
yeah.
but he's out there. I wanted to mention there's some rookies that I'm still going to hold on to just because I think they're going to have value. I really like Tyrone Tracy with the Giants.
Mhm.
Who knows what's going to happen there? Dayball may get fired. Singletary isn't very dynamic, so I think Tracy.
Devin Singletary is the give up running.
Yeah.
You sign him because you know he can get you through.
So I'm not cutting Tracy to pick up somebody like P. Ryan.
No.
If I'm okay other places. Roma Dunze, another, I think he's going to end up being fine. So I wouldn't cut him to pick up somebody like Tyler Johnson at this point. Now, in another league, I have Joshua Palmer. The Chargers clearly are going to be a run first team. That is evident
It looks
right
like
now.
Quentin Johnston is like
Yes.
finally coming into his own.
So they're going to run it, and then Johnston is coming into his own. So I am making a
And
move and getting rid of Palmer.
I think Johnston and McConkey will be there
Yes,
too.
yes.
And McConkey had a good first week. Last week, maybe not so much, but I think as it goes on, my rookie receivers that I'm like, I agree with you on Roma Dunze. I'm not going to do like, I'll leave Keon Coleman where he is, like sitting on the bench. Eventually that's going to hit.
Mhm.
It may be to like, that's your end of the year play. McConkey, keep McConkey. Like those are the guys. Brian Thomas, like
Yes,
keep him. Like those are the guys who are really going to, Malik Neighbors, like you don't have to play him every week, but who knows what's going to happen there. Like I have a feeling if Tommy Cutlets gets back in there, he's going to like his deal's going to be, I'm throwing to Neighbors.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So,
couple where I was wrong last week.
Yeah.
We talked about Marvin Harrison a lot. He didn't do anything that first week. I was recommending putting him on the bench. That was clearly wrong, so I apologize on that. I was right though on Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
That Rams defense is beat up. That whole team is beat up. So the Ram defense moving forward. So this week it's the 49ers against the Rams.
Mhm.
Man, I'm loading up on Mason, on Ayuk. Kittle got banged up. That's another one. You got to see his status, but the Rams can't stop anybody.
well, also Deebo Samuel's out.
He's
too.
out. That's the other one I couldn't.
Deebo Samuel is out.
So Jawan Jennings.
So Jawan Jennings.
Yes.
I was kind of curious, like a guy I was big on, and I drafted him in our league, but I had to drop him because he got shot. It was Ricky Pearsall. And so he's going to be out for a minute, but I'm
Seems like we have that story every year. Brian Robinson 1 year.
yeah.
Pearsall. Yeah, that happens. That
Yeah.
happens quite a bit.
Yeah. You remember Keith Davis from the Cowboys
Yeah.
from Italy, Texas. Keith Davis got shot, and I remember we had him on our show a couple times, and I asked him, like, you came back from that. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's still like really scary to this day. He's like, I have no idea why I got like who they thought I was, because they were like angry and like thought he was somebody else. So and then of course all these things.
I can't remember if he was with the Giants or Steelers when it happened, but the guy shot himself in the leg.
Plexico Burress did.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then got in trouble because you can't have like New York is the state
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
the opposite of Texas, which you get a free gun when you cross the border or eat eat if you eat all the menu items in a month at Whataburger, you get a free gun in Texas, I think.
Go to any charity event around here where there's a raffle, there's a gun being raffled off.
Yeah. I had to do an improv show.
Quite amazing.
I did an improv show at Moody High School one time. An improv show at Moody High School, and they wouldn't let us get on the stage because they had a band. So we had to do it on the floor on the same level as everybody in the cafetorium there.
Mhm.
Like they didn't stop the food service. Like they made us go during the food service. So we're up there trying to be like, all right, we need a place that can fit on the stage. And then it's like, Clem, how the hell are you, son of a bitch? Look at your wife. I can't believe you married this ugly SOB. You gonna win that gun? Yeah, I know you in the silent auction. You always bid higher than me, you old rascal. And that's what you kept hearing. And it was just like, oh, please. Like, I want it makes you better as a comedian, but I'll tell you, the whole time I was like, please let me go. Please let us go. Mike knows her, Melissa Green, who I was on her podcast, or I will be on the 23rd, but I recorded this week. She was in that too, and we were like, oh my God. It was rough. So, but I digress. My tangents are legendary. Let's go through some of your key plays this week. I'm going to throw one out for defenses.
Yep.
If you stream defenses like Steve and I do,
Yep.
if you're in a league that still requires a defense, even though it's an outdated fantasy thing,
Mhm.
if you do that, who's ever playing the Giants,
Cleveland Browns.
the Cleveland Browns, and the Panthers.
Yes.
Yes.
So I don't feel as comfortable about the Browns against the Giants for some reason. The Raiders are playing the Panthers. That's a decent play. I like the Buccaneers against the Broncos.
Mhm.
Bo Nix right now is a turnover machine. And then the Packers are playing the Titans. Will Levis, 2 weeks in a row, has done something really dumb. So I look for that trend to continue. And then the Bills against Jacksonville. That's something we talk about later, and we'll see how it progresses. But Trevor Lawrence seems like he's plateaued a little bit.
I wouldn't say regressed. Like,
No,
he's plateaued a little bit, or
he's hit his ceiling,
or he's been figured out.
Yeah,
and they need to do so. I think the offense maybe has been figured out.
Yeah,
which is what happened to Doug Peterson in Philly as well.
Yeah,
like he can come in and innovate and make you better for a minute. I just don't think he can keep staying ahead of the curve. And that's what happened in Philly. And now they got Nick Sirianni. They still look good. I mean, like last night, notwithstanding, you know, they're innovating. And also there's one outlier in this. And I will say this for everybody when you're looking around the league and wondering why some teams are struggling and why some teams appear on the way up. Now, the Browns are only struggling because they made one horrible decision, and that was Deshaun Watson. Kevin Stefanski is one of the best coaches in the league. And if honestly, like if they get the opportunity to sit Deshaun down, I think they're kind of hoping the league does that for them. If they get the opportunity to sit him down, then Jameis Winston will go in. And then, yes, Jameis Winston will throw interceptions. Yeah, he will throw interceptions, but he will throw for a ton of yards. And he will fill up Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper and David Njoku and all that. It will all get better if Jameis is in there. Now, are they going to win the Super Bowl with Jameis? No. Yeah. But he's a better player at this point than Deshaun Watson is. And may have always been, but I have a soft spot. But yes, that's a different thing. But look around the league, Steve. Yep. Who are the exciting coaches right now? The exciting coaches are Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, young coaches. Now, except for Andy Reid, who has Superman at quarterback. Yeah. None of these guys, Nick Sirianni in Philly, the Colts, Steichen, Jonathan Gannon's really interesting down there in Arizona. The people off that Philadelphia tree, they're all young. Mike McDaniel, young, innovative coaches, new, exciting coaches, not the retreads. And so I will say this about the team in Dallas. The team in Houston has DeMeco Ryans, young, exciting, innovative defensive mind with a young, exciting, innovative offensive mind coaching for him. And then Mike McCarthy is a retread coach with a bunch of retread coordinators. And you see why the Cowboys are stuck in the mud.
and he's the OC. Basically,
Yes.
I know you got who do they have?
Brian
Yeah,
Schottenheimer.
who's not? Yeah.
So
Some receivers I like. I already mentioned Ayuk going up against the Rams. That's a no brainer.
yeah,
There, I like DK Metcalf against
Big week last
Miami.
week.
Yep. I think Zay Flowers is going to have a good week
Mhm.
against Dallas. Unfortunately, Baltimore's coming in 0-2. They're desperate for a win. It doesn't bode well. I don't think.
I would say buy big on Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry too this week.
Yep.
Because the Cowboys showed no propensity to stop anything.
No.
Ozzie
Ozzie Smith was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
In there, he
Well,
has yet to make a quarterback pressure this year.
and there's a rotating, there's a thing that's like a wheel in the Cowboys front office. It's the positions. There's always one on offense and one on defense that they decide not to spend money on.
Mhm.
And so for a long time, it was right tackle on offense, and on defense, it was safety.
Yeah.
They would spend money everywhere else.
Yeah.
But now on defense, it's not safety, it's defensive tackle, and on offense, it's running back. So that's moved, it's moved, and they
Yeah.
decided this is where we're going to save money. And those are the two, they go so cheap on it that it is the thing that undoes their season, as opposed to let's just save a couple of bucks here and there, and maybe well, we don't have to get all this stuff. We'll bounce it out a little better. They're like, no, we're going dirt cheap on this position, and that's what they're going to do, and that's what they've done with those two
Yep,
positions.
paying the price.
Yeah.
You mentioned Brian Thomas. I love him this week. Shaheed. The Eagles defense isn't great. Kirk Cousins lit him up last night. They have no pass rush.
I like Devin White being a healthy scratch. For
Yeah.
them.
Demarcus Robinson, I mentioned. In my DFS, I'm going to throw Deontay Johnson and Leggett in
Mhm.
some lineups with Dalton just to see
Yeah.
what happens. The Raiders aren't anything special there. So you mentioned McConkey. I do like McConkey for the Chargers. And then running back, usual suspects at the top. I do think here we go with the paper. J.K. Dobbins, tougher matchup this week, but I was totally wrong on that. I thought it'd be Gus Edwards. It's Dobbins while he's healthy. Steeler defense, a little bit tougher, but I think he's going to do well. I do think Jonathan Taylor will finally have a solid game this week against the Bears. I like that matchup. You mentioned Derrick Henry. I'm thinking well over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns for Henry.
Look, he wanted to go two places.
Dallas.
He wanted to go to Dallas, where he lives.
Yep.
In the offseason.
Didn't even call him.
He doesn't look. He lived in Nashville, one of America's great cities.
Yeah.
Dallas, also one of America's great cities. He's lived in Dallas in the offseason for years. They didn't even call him. And Baltimore is like, hey, do you want to come play with an exciting quarterback and Lamar Jackson? And we're gonna make you a feature of this offense that you need. And he's like, yeah, I do. Sure do. That'd be great. I would love to help you get over the hump. And also, let's be honest, even the Cowboys did call. The Cowboys, as what we've talked about, are further away from winning a Super Bowl than Baltimore is.
Yeah.
Baltimore, honestly, and look, I know they've lost the first two games. I think they're
going to make the playoffs.
They're going to make the
I
playoffs.
think Cincinnati will make the playoffs.
The thing that's going to happen with Baltimore, is they've gone through Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins and running back Keaton Mitchell is on IR and he'll come back, and he was great for them. And then he got hurt at the end of last year. They can't keep a running back healthy. Well, that's never been Derrick Henry's problem.
Yeah.
He usually makes the other guy unhealthy. So this week, the latest Cowboys dud draft pick, defensive tackle. No more Michigan defensive linemen.
No.
Taco and him, they're 0 for 2.
Yep.
Don't go back to the well anymore.
Yep. I forgot about
They
this.
fell in love with a video of him doing frog hops up some damn stairs. And they're like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to be great. Like, okay, well, best of luck with all
And what
that.
you hear after that draft is that they probably could have got him in the second or third round.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks real quick. I love Baker Mayfield against Denver. He's doing really well there. Brock Purdy should light it up. Even without McCaffrey, even without Debo, they're going to be in good shape against the Rams.
They have Kittle and,
Yeah.
and Mason. And,
Gardner Minshew doing well. Panther defense isn't anything. Now, part of that Panther defense has been the offense hasn't been able to hold on to the ball.
Mm.
I think the time of possession will even out a little bit better with Dalton, so it might not be quite as bad. But I think.
But I also like Andy Dalton's not the starter somewhere for a reason.
I know,
And this is not like, yes, Bryce Young's not been playing well.
you can say that about
And
Darnold
he's-
too.
And he's shook.
Yeah.
And he's shook. And Dave Canales is an excellent quarterback coach.
Yeah.
He's the reason for Baker's resurgence. And
Yeah.
now they replaced him with Liam Cohen, who's brilliant. And so, again, innovative coaches.
Yep.
But, yeah, if I remember thinking that, like, it's going to be hard for him to hire David Tepper to hire anybody.
Yeah.
Given that he's like, Bryce Young's already had 3 head coaches.
Yeah.
It's not fair for him. It's not fair. It's on him, but like they have not done it well. I feel like I'm watching RG3 all over again.
That's a good
Where-
analogy. Yeah.
You know, you have this guy who's a dynamic talent who needed to learn how to protect himself, sure. But was, you gave up all these draft, this is what happens though. You give up draft picks to go up. And if you give up draft picks to go up and get a quarterback, you better have the rest of your team built 1st because you give up draft picks to go get a quarterback so that you can have the quarterback come in and he can adjust easily, readily. If you give up draft picks to go get a quarterback and then the next draft comes around and you don't have the draft picks to get a left tackle to protect him, get a wide receiver to make him better, help out along the way, get that defensive tackle or defensive end or something, find those little gems because you moved all the way up to the first pick. You had to do that. And here's the thing. They felt they had to do that. And then they got the first pick the next year, but had already traded it away.
Yes.
So because of that, like something that was going to happen anyway, didn't work out for them.
Yep.
And it's a terrible trade. I mean, the 2 worst trades in recent NFL history are the Panthers going all out for Bryce Young. And not because somebody shouldn't have picked Bryce Young high. They weren't ready for Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And they've done him a disservice. And then the Houston Texans fleecing the Browns for hand job Harry.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson, or want to have a hand job Harry.
The Panthers still owe the Bears one more pick.
The
Next
second
year,
round,
second round
the,
pick.
The 33rd pick in this year's draft belongs to the Bears again. So that's another guy it'll be we'd say it's going to be the 33rd pick. It may not be. Maybe it's but their second round pick, which should be in the
upper half,
mid to low 30s,
Mhm.
from 35 to 33 or so, they'll be okay. I mean, that's a guy that could come in and start, and they didn't. So anyway, final thoughts, Steve.
Just again, like I mentioned earlier, get on and get your waiver set tonight. Some leagues you got to bid, you got to put your fab out there. I wouldn't go too crazy. There's nobody out there right now that you would every once in a while. Somebody will pop up that you want to spend 20 to 30% of your fab money on there. There's nobody out there, in my opinion, for that. Jordan Mason, if he was available to bid a couple weeks ago, last week, maybe there, but just don't panic. We're only 2 weeks in. Be smart with your waivers.
Absolutely. All right. That's going to do it for That Damn Fantasy Show. Next week, we'll probably roll out with the intro. We'll also be in a different studio. So don't get scared. Don't get nervous. We'll be in a different studio.
New studio, new songs.
We'll be in the
New
365 Sports studio. Steve and I are going to go massive plastic surgery, but don't worry. We'll be fine. We'll be there next week. We might have bandages over our face.
We'll do part 2 of Face Off.
Yes.
Travolta and who's the other one in?
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
Was
it Travolta?
Yeah. I
Okay.
want his face.
Yeah.
A movie that was ignored by the Academy Awards for
Shame.
For no good reason that I can think of.
Yeah.
I think Mike would be interested in this. We could do a podcast on each scene, like a series on each scene of Face Off. Like today we're going to do act 1, scene 1 of Face Off and talk about this, and then just go through it. And there's 30 scenes in a movie, basically. So we have a 30 episode podcast, 3 seasons, 10 episodes, as we go through each scene of Face Off.
I'm going to bet if you do a search for podcasts, I bet someone's done that. There's so many podcasts out there.
There are. Well, that's what we do here at Rogue. But look, there's no
Only
bad
quality ones here at Rogue.
There's no such thing as a bad podcast. There's only bad podcast hosts. So
Or too much Nick Cage.
yeah, no, he's playing
Can't
John
be done.
Madden.
Can't be done.
He's playing John Madden.
Yes.
So, and Frank Caliendo's like, hey man,
What the hell?
is this because I'm short? You can make me look taller. They do it in Cruise's movies all the time. All right, that's going to do it for That Damn Fantasy Show. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends. Find us on Twitter, send text commish, Paul Catalina. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching That Damn Fantasy Show. Join Paul and Steve again next time. And remember, it's just fantasy, damn it. Can someone call my agent? This is a really dumb job.
We are Rogue Media Sports.